In today's video, we're going to cast for a book called The Liveship Traders. This is a nautical fantasy by an author called Robin Hobb. So it follows several characters, primarily the Street family, a trader family living in a place called Bingtown, which is a port town. Bingtown traders are a close-knit, secretive community. They are known for owning ships known as live ships, a special kind of ship made from a special kind of wood known as wizard wood. So these ships, like the name suggests, have a consciousness, meaning they are able to talk and they're able to feel in their own way. And they become conscious after the death on board of a third generation member of the owning family. This video contains a lot of spoilers for this book. If you have not read these books, I recommend that you read the books and then watch later. Of course, you can watch if you have no intentions of reading the books. You will notice that my storytelling is not very detailed. This is deliberate because I do not want to spoil everything. Even after you watch the video, I would still want you to be able to read the books and still enjoy. So if you're like me though, you don't like to know anything about the books that you're reading, then don't watch this video. Come back to this video after you have read the books. So in our story, after the death of Ephron, the head of the Street family, their live ship called the Vivacia quickens, it becomes conscious. And then shortly after that, their family is just plunged into severe confusion when, just before he dies, Ephron names his son-in-law to be captain of the Vivacia, as opposed to his youngest daughter, who had been sailing with him since she had been 12 years old. So she's disappointed that he leaves the ship with his son-in-law and not her. And that marks the beginning of so many problems for the Street family. Like, confusion just kicks in and things just start going wrong from there. Placing the Vivacia in the hands of the family son-in-law triggers a series of events that just affect everyone. Like, things happen that affect people in Bingtown, and not just the Street family, and also people outside of Bingtown. And as the Street family tries to save their trading business, or rather their family business, from ruin, they become entangled with sea serpents, slavery, dragons, pirates, political intrigue, and non-magical forces, all while just also dealing with the growing sentience of the ship, the Vivacia. This story explores themes of family, power, and the connections between the people and their live ships. This video would be really, really long if I was to cast all the characters that are in this book. So for this particular reason, I'm just going to cast the characters that I feel have the strongest connection to the Street family. Husband to Ronica Verstreet and father to Althea and Kefria, Ephron is the captain of the Vivacia and the head of the Street family. So this character is a very fair person. He is a loving husband and doting father to his two daughters. He's a fair man, and even though I would say he's a bit of a distant figure, he's very focused on making sure that the family stays afloat financially, and in the interim, he becomes distant, or rather, it makes him oblivious to the inner struggles that members of his family are going through. So Ephron, good as he is just too focused on business to see that there are a lot of things that are happening, rather there are some emotional battles that are happening within the members of his family. My casting choice for this character is an actor who I think can embody Ephron to the teeth. This actor that I've picked is someone that I know is able to act flawlessly, being tough as well as being gentle, as this is Ephron. Ephron is someone who is very loving to his daughter and his wife, but is very tough sometimes it can be tough, especially on his grandson. It's very tough on that person. So I want someone who can do that who can do both, who can be tough and who can be gentle. So the actor that I've picked is someone who's going to do a great job being tough as well as being gentle. Veronica Verstreet is wife to Ephron Verstreet and mother to Kefraya and Althea. This woman is very strong, she's very intelligent and deeply compassionate. She's the one who convinces the husband to leave the family ship, the Vivausia, with the son-in-law Kyle. She does this so that they can have a man at the helm of the family affairs after the death of Ephron, a decision which she later regrets very much when she comes to learn the kind of person that their son-in-law Kyle is. Veronica's sense of duty and her love for her family ignites in her a fire which makes her a very big force to reckon with. So for this role, I've picked an actor who in her previous roles has shown us that she can be fiery when needs to be. So my Veronica is someone who's going to be very fiery when she needs to be, because after the death of her husband and things start going wrong, Veronica needs to be this very strong person, and this actor can do just that. Carl Heaven is husband to Kefraya Verstreet. It should be noted that this guy is not of trader stock, he's an outsider. So after the death of Ephron, the head of the Verstreet family, Kyle is the one who is left in charge of their family ship. He's the one who's named captain of the Vivausia. This guy he's entitled, he's arrogant and extremely self-righteous. He is cruel, evil, and it just makes you want to... On taking over the ship, the Vivausia, the first thing Kyle does as captain is indulge in slave trade, something which not only his late father-in-law was against, but also every single member of his family is against, as all the traders do not agree with slave trade. They think it's inhumane, they don't agree with it, and that is no exception for the Verstreet family. But Kyle goes and just takes the family ship and engages in slave trade against the advice of all the members of his family. My choice of actor for this role is a bit controversial. I know some of you, or rather, yeah, some of you are going to say, this person. Yeah, so my reason for choosing this person is because this guy is our sweetheart. We love him on screen, we love him off screen, we love everything he does, we love him when he's a good guy, we love him when he's a bad guy. So overall, we love him. And I think getting us to hate him would be a tough job for him. So if he could do that, I think it would be very fun to watch. And I think getting us to make him hate him on screen, it would be interesting, because Kyle is that kind of character that you just find pleasure in hating. So if this guy can make us hate him, then it's going to be very interesting, it's going to be very entertaining, and that's my reason for choosing this guy as the person to play Kyle Heaven. Kefraya Verstreet is wife to Kyle Heaven. She is Ephron and Veronica's oldest and Althea's only sister. Also, she's mother to Wintrow, Selden, and Matal. This woman is struggling with the pressures of managing her family's fading trading legacy after her father's death. She is also struggling with insecurities, and then also dealing with the pressures of being wife to the domineering Kyle Heaven. So she's going through a lot. This is one of the characters in the book that undergoes a lot of character development. So starting out, Kefraya is this woman who's very, very oblivious, for lack of a better word. I think she's just like a passenger in a family. She is just wife to Kyle and daughter. She's not involved in any of the family affairs, but as time goes on, she is transformed into this person who becomes very fierce, and she also, like a mother, becomes a force to reckon with, except the mother is a force to reckon with even from the inception, but she just changes into this very strong woman that you did not see in the beginning. So my choice of actor for this role is someone who I think can balance being the loving and motherly person that Kefraya is, and then also uh, embody this tough woman that Kefraya becomes after her family goes through some challenges and after the changes that happen in Bing Town. Wintro is Kefraya and Kyle's oldest. This boy is sensitive and gentle. Around his family, Wintro feels like he doesn't belong. So because the grandfather and father thinks he's too soft, they send him to priesthood because when they look at him, they don't see him becoming a sailor. They don't see him as someone who has a place in the family. So they send him off to become a priest, something that he actually begins to enjoy. Except as soon as he starts to enjoy it, his father sends for him to go back home when his grandfather becomes seriously ill. So Kyle does this to prepare to be captain because the way life ships work, somebody needs to, or rather at all times, there needs to be a blood relative of the owning family. And as Kai was, or rather as Kai was sailing, yes, when Ephron got sick, he was sailing with Althea, and then they have differences. They are constantly fighting. So he decides he's going to get rid of Althea. He's going to leave her home. He's going to find her somebody to marry, and so he's going to get his son, who is related to his wife, to be on board the Vivausia to keep a family relative on board the Vivausia, to have a blood relative on the ship. So while there, Wintro gets mistreated by all the crew members, and his father just stands by, and he actually even encourages it. He's bullied, he's picked on, and at some point he is even enslaved, becomes a slave. He's enslaved by his own father and is branded as such because he just won't make peace with being on the ship. He would rather go back to being a priest. For this role, my choice of actor is someone who I feel can capture the essence of Wintro with ease. In my humble opinion, this actor was born to play this role. Kyle and Kefraya's second oldest and only girl. Matai is stubborn, manipulative, and heavily spoiled by her father. This girl, like her father, is very entitled and vain. She looks down on everyone in her family, everyone except her father. She thinks her mother is inexperienced and backwards. She thinks her grandmother is unnecessarily harsh. She thinks of her brother Wintro as a weakling and a weirdo. And as for her youngest brother, Selden, she just looks at him as an inconvenience. Her family is going through some tough times, but she doesn't care about any of that. She's determined to be independent, and she carries herself as someone who's older than she is, and she's very determined to get herself presented to society as someone who's of age, even though she's just 12 years old. She almost presents herself to society at the harvest ball, at the traders' harvest ball, without the knowledge of her mother and her grandmother. She sneaks out and she goes to the harvest ball and attempts to present herself to society. Thankfully, she's caught by a family friend, David, who hides her and takes her back home before anyone is able to see her trying to present herself. In trying to get her reined in, her mother takes her with them to a traders meeting so that she can learn the trader ways, so that she can learn about the ways of their people. While there, she sneaks out, wanders off, and meets somebody from the Rain Wilds, a guy from the Rain Wilds, who she unknowingly enters into a courtship agreement with. She is an annoying child who later becomes, or rather who matures into a thoughtful and a decent human being who matures. Marta is one of those characters in the book that undergoes immense character development, and the same characteristics that made us want to just strangle her as a child are the characteristics that make her, or rather, a very strong young woman who even now becomes the queen of the elderlings. My choice of actor for this role is someone who is good at acting manipulative. She has convinced me that she can make an excellent Mata. Selden is Kefraya and Kyle's youngest and brother to Winthrop and Mata. This guy is the baby of the family. Selden is the baby of the family, and with everything going on around, he is people don't think about him. It's like he's forgotten, and he does feel it. He feels everyone is busy doing their thing, trying to keep their family together, trying to keep the family affairs together, and people don't spare a thought for him. It's like he's not even there, and he noticed this, and he longs for a place in the wild, in the world. He gets a chance at getting a place in the world when he, with Rain, Mata's betrothed, free a dragon that had been trapped in the underground city for many, many years. Selden ends up becoming singer to the dragon. He ends up becoming so good with the dragon that at the time when the Bingtown traders need the dragon's help, is the one that mediates for them, is the one that convinces the dragon to offer them her help. Also, Selden becomes one of the first elderlings of his time. My choice of actor for this role is a newcomer on the scene. He hasn't been acting for a long time, but he shows so much promise, and I think he would make an excellent Selden. Davad is one of the Bingtown traders. This man is a very calculating, self-serving, and ambitious merchant. And because of his behavior, the other traders in Bingtown start to shun him, or accept the Vestreets, the only friends that he has in Bingtown. Davad is a constant figure in the Vestreet family because Ronica feels sorry for him after his wife's death. He has no one. She keeps him in spite of his ways. So he's always hanging around the Vestreet family home. Is just a constant figure in their home, in their lives. And he's actually the one who gets Mata when she tries to present herself at the harvest ball. He's the one who drags her home to prevent her family from going through ruin because of her behavior. In spite of their friendship, Davad still tries to gain from the Vestreets. He tries to manipulate the situation when he finds out that Mata is now engaged to a member of one of the richest families in the Rain Wild. So he has no boundaries when it comes to manipulation and trying to gain wherever he gets a chance. Davad is one of those characters that you just don't like. He's one of those characters. He brings that out in you, like getting you to dislike him. So my choice of actor for this show is someone who has never failed to make us dislike him on screen. Even though I've only seen him do this in comedies, I think he would nail the role of Davad. Althea is Ephron and Ronica's youngest. She is determined and very spirited. So at the age of 12, she joins her father and sails with him on the Vivalsia. And so naturally, she expects to be able to inherit the live ship, the Vivalsia, as captain when the father passes. And she is very disappointed and she feels betrayed when she learns that instead of her, the ship is now going to be left with Kyle Heaven, the brother-in-law, who believes that a woman has no place on the ship. She abandons her family and sets off on a quest to get Kyle and her family, as well as everyone else, to recognize her as a capable sailor. So she leaves the family and goes out to look for a job so that she can prove to everyone that she can sail not just on the Vivalsia, she can survive as a sailor. She's a capable sailor. She does this so she can get back the ship, because at this point she still believes the ship should be given to her, and so she's very determined to get it back. While on this quest, she meets a bead maker called Amber. This person teaches her how to act like a boy so that she can find a job as a boy, pretending to be a boy, because the sailors at the time are very superstitious. They believe that if you go with women on the ship, then you are going to attract sea serpents. And so to get a job on the ship, Althea has to pretend to be a boy. And so Amber is the one who teaches her how to dress like a boy, how to walk like a boy, so that she can find a job as a boy on a ship. So she then even manages to find a job on a slaughter ship called the Reaper, and there she meets with Brush and Trail, her late father's first mate, and then they discover that they have feelings for each other. She is kicked off the Reaper when the captain finds out that she is a girl. He kicks her off, he gets very angry, and he leaves her stranded. She then begs for a job as a ship boy on another live ship called the Ophelia, belonging to the Taniera family. So there she discloses later that she is Althea, and instead of kicking her off, they actually give her safe passage back home. My choice of actor is somebody who's convinced me that she can be tough in the roles that she has played. So she's good at acting tough, so I think she's going to make an excellent Althea. Greg Teniera is son to the trader that gives Althea passage home when she's stranded. Even after they discover that she's a girl, they still give her a ride back home, and Greg with her father promise her that they're going to help her get her ship back. So this guy is very principled and thoughtful. Overall, Greg is a nice guy. On the way home, on the way back home, on the ship, on the Ophelia, Greg finds himself falling in love with Althea, and he does tell this to her. She does find him attractive, except she just finds it difficult to picture what their life would look like with him being captain of the Ophelia and her being captain of the Vivalcia, because she is determined to get a ship and she sees herself getting a ship back, and when she does that, she sees herself being captain of the ship. Greg pictures a kind of wife that is going to be at home taking care of the house, the family affairs, and the children. But unfortunately, this is not the kind of life that Althea imagines for herself. And so it's difficult for her to accept Greg. So Greg does propose to her shortly after saying something anti-feminist. And this does not sit well with Althea. And so she declines his proposal. Yeah, she declines his proposal and is broken-hearted. Obviously, he's very, very much into her. But he does eventually find love in the book, in another woman. So it ends well for him. He does find love. My choice of actor is someone who I feel would capture our sympathy with ease, and I believe this person would do a great job bearing himself, the way Greg bears himself before Althea, who keeps shooting down his advances. From the trader family, Brashen is a very loyal, down-to-earth guy, a bit rough around the edges in my humble opinion, but with a very, very strong sense of duty. After being disowned by his family due to his recurring gambling problems, Brashen is left destitute as no trader family will give him a job or take him in. This is until Ephron the street takes him in, and after proving himself on the Vivacia, he is made the first mate under Ephron as captain. He doesn't get along with Kyle, and so after the first trip with Kyle as captain, Brashen resigns from the Vivalcia and finds another job on a slaughter ship called the Reaper. There he is reunited with Althea, and they start a love affair which Althea ends. So after Althea ends the love affair, they go their separate ways. But then they do meet again. This time they meet to work on a ship called the Paragon. It's also known as the Mad Ship. So this ship has been sitting on the beach for a long time because no one will touch it. Whenever it sails with people, it kills the people. So it's just been left there. And so Althea, Brashen, and Amber go to patch up the ship so that they can fix it and sail to the Pirate Isles, where the Vivalcia has been taken by pirates so that they can save it. I think I should probably mention that the Vivalcia is taken by pirates when it goes on its first trip with Kyle as the official captain. After Ephron's death, Kyle decides to go into slave trade, and when he goes to get his slaves, the Vivalcia is captured by pirates, and so now Althea and this group of people now are trying to go and get ready to, or trying to get ready to go and save the ship from the pirates. So my choice of actor for Brashen is someone we haven't seen in a lot of roles. I haven't seen him in a lot of roles, but I believe he would make a good Brashen based on the little of his work that I have seen. Also, I would like to see what he does with this role. So also there's an aspect of curiosity in my reason for choosing this person as Brashen. Amber is rather a mysterious character. She is not from Bingtown, even though she owns a shop there as a bead maker. She is treated like an outsider, and she struggles with a sense of well-being and also her magical heritage. She is tremendous help to Althea in her quest to get the Vivalcia back. So when Althea just loses the ship to Kyle, Amber is the one who trains her to act like a boy so that she can find a job on a ship as a boy. And she helps her and she trains her successfully. And then later when the ship is taken, when the Vivalcia is taken by pirates, Amber is one of the people to devise a plan to fix the Paragon so that they can also go for the ship or go after the ship and try to rescue the Vivalcia. During the time they're patching up the Paragon, she also uses her carpentry skills to also fix the ship so that they can sail on a rescue voyage to rescue, or rather to rescue the Vivalcia and hopefully the crew as well. Also Amber she's, like I said earlier, has some magical heritage, so she's able to see visions of things that haven't happened. She's able to she's like a prophet, I think. Yeah, that's the best way I'd put it. I don't know, or maybe a clairvoyance. So my choice of actor for this show is somebody who has never failed to bring mystery to whatever role she plays. Whatever role this actor plays, there's a bit of mystery to it, and I feel she would make an excellent Amber. Rain Kupras is the youngest of Jani Kupras, the matriarch of one of the richest family in the place called the Trader Wilds. So this guy is very loyal, and he is also burdened by the weight of his family expectations, and is trying to balance being there for his family, dealing with his family responsibilities, as well as having some personal freedom. He comes into Marta's life at a trader meeting when she wanders off and mistakes him for a coachman. She engages in a conversation with him without knowing who he is, and of course she later enters into a courtship agreement with him without knowing it. They do eventually fall in love, and they become the king and queen of the elderlings. But that's after so many things happen. I'm not going to dive into all those things because I don't want to make a very long video. Yeah. The person who's going to be Rain, or rather Rain, needs to be very patient because it's hard to deal with a lot of Marta's shenanigans. So my choice of actor for this show is somebody who's going to bring that patience that Rain embodies. Wretch is another significant character to the street story. She comes in the lives of the streets as a slave gifted to Ronica by their friend David to help take care of the very sick Ephron the street. This woman is fiercely independent and very pragmatic. She comes to be in David's service when she is sold as a slave after losing her child. So she was on a ship on a slaver carrying slaves when her very small child died on the ship. After that, she became so depressed that she started acting hysterical, and people got scared that she may cause the ship to capsize and she may bring bad luck because she was crying for death and she was just so distraught and she was a mess. So they decided to sell her when they reached the closest port, and this was the Bingtown port, and that's where they sold her to David. And David bought her in spite of the traders being against slave trade. They were not happy with that, and he still got her regardless. So she's very instrumental in the story, in that when things go wrong in Bingtown, she's the one who becomes the intermediary between the traders and the slaves, as they now try to build a new society which is more inclusive. Kenneth is a pirate captain. He is cunning and extremely ambitious. So he decides he wants to be king of the pirate isles, and also decides that to do this, he needs to obtain a live ship first. In order to convince his first mate to comply with him in this difficult task of obtaining a live ship, Kenneth agrees to go after a slaver for every live ship that they go after. He finally finds his luck when he goes after the Vivacia carrying slaves who have just overthrown the crew and slaughtered everyone on board except for Captain Kyle and his slave son Winthrop. He takes over the ship from the slaves, and he imprisons Kyle and takes Winthrop under his wing and treats him like a son. Winthrop, after some time, grows to respect the pirate and what he believes the pirate stands for. In spite of his attachment to Kenneth, Winthrop still longs to go back to his priesthood. And so even though Kenneth now takes him under his wing and to some extent even loves him, Kenneth, the pirate, still starts to plot, tries to convince Winthrop to impregnate his woman Etta, so that when Etta has a child, then they can have a blood relative of the owning family of the live ship. And then after that happens, then he would be able to get rid of Winthrop. Like, it doesn't have to be with Winthrop on the ship, because then he would have somebody blood related to Winthrop. Throughout the story, Kenneth does a lot of things that make you hate him as a character in this book. But then towards the end of the story, when you learn his story, when you listen to or rather when you read what he's been through from the time he was a small boy leading up to the time he became a pirate, in a way you begin to understand that it was just somehow a victim of his circumstances. My choice of actor for this show is someone who has under his belt so many characters like Kenneth. I think playing Kenneth would be a walk in the park for him. Etta starts out as a prostitute in a brothel which Kenneth likes. I think that's the only brothel that he visits. She is strong-willed, she's resilient, and fiercely loyal to Kenneth. So Etta becomes the only prostitute that Kenneth goes to whenever he visits this brothel. She doesn't pretend, and he likes that about her. Seeing her to him feels like a business transaction, and he enjoys that because whenever he goes there, she knows what she's supposed to do. She knows her role. She doesn't pretend. She just does what she's supposed to do, and he likes that about their interactions. So after his enemies learn about this pattern of his, of only seeing this one prostitute, they go and hide in the room, the only room that he likes to use. They hide there and they beat up Etta, and then they keep her there. And while she waits for him, they also hide there because they know he's going to be there. So they hide there and wait for him to get there with Etta after they beat her up. When he gets there, he manages, together with his crew, to beat up every one of those enemies. And after which he gets Etta and takes her to the ship to protect her, a sign which she interprets as love from him. Once on the ship, she earns the respect of all of Kenneth's crew, as she proves to be very resourceful. Also, she adapts with ease to the life on the ship, even though she is a woman who's never sailed in her life. She later becomes pregnant with Kenneth's son, and after his death, she takes over the agreement that he made with the satrap and becomes queen of the Pirate Isles, a position which Kenneth would have taken if he had not died. So she ends up being queen of the Pirate Isles. My choice of actor for this show is someone who I believe can bring out Etta's fierceness. I think she can do this and then some. Did I mention Bingtown is a colon? Well, this guy is the colonizer. He is self-absorbed and has no idea whatsoever about the complexities of governing. Because of this, his subordinates and his enemies alike plot, or rather they use him to their advantage to further their own agendas, all the while they are plotting to overthrow him in the background. He takes over as satrap after the death of his father, and as soon as he takes over. He disregards everything that the respected satrap stood for. And so to destabilize him, his enemies convince him to increase the tariffs for the Bingtown traders, a feat that does not bode well with them, obviously. I mean, the Bingtown traders already, they are paying tariffs, and they don't see any reason why they should be paying to the satrap, because they're not getting anything from him. But then to increase their tariffs just pushes them over the edge. To settle the unrest that this issue causes, he decides to travel, to sail to Bingtown to deal with this problem on the ground. And he sails accompanied by his friends and his two companions, or rather his female advisors. While in Bingtown, a plot to kidnap him brews, and it doesn't go well, unfortunately, and somehow he ends up on a boat stranded with Matave Street and one of his companions. A lot of crazy things happen, and the satrap finds himself relying on Kenneth for protection. Like it's just a lot of things that happen. I can't go into all of them, all the details, otherwise it's going to be a long video. So a lot of things happen, and the satrap finds himself relying on Kenneth for protection. And in order to give this protection, Kenneth creates this agreement that he makes the satrap sign, recognizing him as the king of the Pirate Isles, among a lot of other things that the satrap is forced to accept, because he has no choice. If it's either he agrees to that or he's attacked by his enemies, who are very heavily armed, by the way. So yeah, he ends up agreeing to give Kenneth the title of King of the Pirate Isles, and he agrees to a lot of other things, which end up being passed to Etta, as Kenneth dies before that comes to pass. Satrap Cosgo starts out as a despicable character, so to speak. His naivete makes him, or rather, makes you want to knock on his head. But towards the end of the story, because of the experiences that he has in Bingtown, and also the experiences he has leading up to the time that he finds himself in Kenneth's care, he matures a bit. He sees things, he starts to see people for what they are. He becomes bearable, so to say. He doesn't become a likable character, but you can, at some point, it becomes possible for you to just tolerate him and say, okay, this I can deal with. Otherwise, it starts out as a very, very hateable character. The actor I have chosen for this role is someone who has about him an ease, a natural ease, which I think will make him perfect for this role. A companion is a female advisor to the satrap, and Cyrilla is one of the two I'm going to speak about. She is intelligent, she's resourceful. Same difference. Okay. She's very resourceful, sharp-witted, and very determined. While Cosgo's father engaged Cyrilla for her intelligence and book smartness, satrap Cosgo is determined to just sleep with her. He doesn't see all the companions as anything more than just playthings, and so he's very determined to sleep with her. But she resists very fiercely, because she really is very intent on maintaining her dignity. So she spends a lot of years studying Bingtown, and the mysterious place it appeals to her. And so she tries to get the satrap to let her go there, to go and be in Bingtown as a representative to deal with the issues of the tariffs that the traders are rebelling against. He refuses to let her go alone, and so he insists on tagging along. So they sail together, and along with another companion and a lot of other people, they decide to go together to Bingtown. He doesn't let her go. He does not want to let her go alone. While on the ship there, on the ship to Bingtown, the satrap, now frustrated with Cyrilla constantly denying him, decides to punish her by giving her to the savage captain of the ship they are on, and he takes liberties with her. Cyrilla, heavily traumatized by the experience, becomes a selfish person with only serving of herself in mind. And so while in Bingtown, one thing leads to another, and she finds herself accusing the Vestrit family of being responsible for the kidnap of the satrap. She finds herself toe-to-toe with a very perceptive Ronnie Street, who is able to see through her down to her traumatic experiences to her dismay. So she starts out wanting to be a ruler of the Bingtown traders, but this does not happen, as a lot of things just there's a lot of imbalance that happens, and so she's not able to become a ruler there as she secretly plots to do. So in the end, she just finds herself being advisor to Kefraya, who is chosen as the representative to the satrap of the Bingtown traders, like a representative of the Bingtown traders to the satrap. My choice of actor for this role is someone who will flawlessly show vulnerability and strength, among other things. Companion Kiki is the other of the satrap's companions. This one is determined to be the satrap's favorite, and she does whatever it takes to always be in his good books, including things that are outside of a job description, if you know what I mean. She makes Cyrilla's life very difficult, just so she can be the satrap's favorite. Also, she feels jealous because the more Cyrilla refuses the satrap, the more he wants her, and she feels jealous that the satrap wants somebody that much. In spite of her giving herself willingly to him, he does not seem to value her as much as he does the other companion, and so she does a lot of things to make the other companion's life difficult. And so I think she's not a good person, if I can put it like that. She later saves herself just before she dies from wounds created by drinking acid water. By saving herself, I mean, she does something that makes us look at her in a different light. So she, at a very critical time, helps Mata. She gives her advice, which not only saves her at the time, but also puts her on a path to become the young woman that Mata becomes, the young mature woman that she becomes, and just it helps her a lot. Without that advice, probably Mata would have died, or even worse than death, ended up in slavery or something. Yeah. So she does give advice to Mata that really helps her, and it just makes you look at her differently. It's, in a way, it redeems her. I believe that the actor I've chosen for this role is somebody who will do a great job bringing this character to life. What did you think of my casting? What would yours look like, and what would you change? Let me know in the comments down below. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like more, please subscribe.